November 22nd, 1963, a date etched in American memory. President John F. Kennedy, young, charismatic, full of promise, rode through the streets of Dallas, Texas. The crowds cheered, caught up in the excitement of the presidential motorcade. Then, shots rang out, echoing through Dealey Plaza. The nation and the world watched in horror as the vibrant life of a president was cut short. The assassination of John F. Kennedy remains one of the most shocking and controversial events in American history. In the aftermath of the tragedy, the Warren Commission was formed to investigate the assassination. Their official conclusion, Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in killing President Kennedy. However, the circumstances surrounding that fateful day in Dallas have fueled countless conspiracy theories, each attempting to unravel the mystery of who killed JFK and why. Theories abound, pointing fingers at various groups and individuals, each with their own supposed motives. Were there darker forces at play, manipulating events from the shadows? Some of the most persistent theories involve the CIA, the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad, and the American Mafia. While these theories may seem like the stuff of spy novels, they highlight the deep mistrust and suspicion that followed the assassination. The sudden, violent death of a president, the uncertainty and the lack of clear answers created fertile ground for speculation and doubt. The CIA, shrouded in secrecy, has long been a prime suspect in conspiracy theories surrounding JFK's death. Proponents of this theory argue that Kennedy's foreign policy decisions, particularly his stance on Cuba and Vietnam, angered the agency. They point to the Bay of Pigs invasion, a failed attempt to overthrow Fidel Castro's regime in Cuba, which Kennedy refused to support with American military force. This, they claim, created a rift between the president and the CIA, who saw Kennedy as weak and indecisive. Further fueling suspicions is Kennedy's decision to scale down American involvement in Vietnam. Conspiracy theorists argue that the CIA, heavily invested in covert operations in Southeast Asia, saw Kennedy's move as a threat to their interests and influence. They claim that the agency, fearing a loss of power and funding, orchestrated the assassination to replace Kennedy with a more hawkish leader. However, critics of the CIA theory argue that there is no concrete evidence to support these claims. They point to the Warren Commission's findings, which found no evidence of CIA involvement. Furthermore, they argue that the CIA is an agency bound by the rule of law and answerable to the president. To believe that they would assassinate a sitting president, they argue, is to believe in a vast and dangerous conspiracy within the very heart of American power. Another theory, whispered in hushed tones, implicates the Israeli intelligence agency, Mossad. This theory hinges on Kennedy's alleged opposition to Israel's development of nuclear weapons. Proponents argue that JFK, committed to preventing nuclear proliferation, exerted pressure on Israel to halt its nuclear program, a move that angered the Israeli government and intelligence agencies. They claim that Mossad, fearing for Israel's security and determined to protect its nuclear ambitions, saw Kennedy as a threat. In this narrative, the assassination was a preemptive strike, a way to silence a powerful opponent and ensure the survival of Israel's nuclear program. However, critics of this theory point to the lack of evidence and the inherent difficulties in proving the existence of a foreign intelligence operation on American soil. They argue that the Mossad, while capable, would be unlikely to risk such a brazen act, knowing the potential consequences if exposed. Furthermore, they point to the strong relationship between the United States and Israel, suggesting that such a drastic action would be counterproductive to Israel's interests. The American Mafia, with its history of violence and shadowy dealings, is another prime suspect in the assassination of JFK. Proponents of this theory argue that John F. Kennedy and his brother, Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy, were actively working to dismantle organized crime in America. The Kennedy brothers' crackdown on the Mafia's illegal activities, including gambling and racketeering, threatened the mob's vast wealth and power. They argue that the Mafia, fearing further prosecution and imprisonment, saw the assassination as a way to eliminate the Kennedy brothers and protect their criminal empire. The theory points to the Mafia's known presence in Dallas and their potential connections to Lee Harvey Oswald as circumstantial evidence. However, critics of the Mafia theory argue that while the mob certainly had a motive to want Kennedy dead, they lacked the means and the opportunity to carry out such a high-profile assassination. They point to the logistical complexities of the assassination, the multiple shooters suggested by some witnesses, and the lack of any direct evidence linking the Mafia to the events in Dallas.